Good morning. It's freezing this morning, so do you want to fit an engine? I feel like MC Hammer in these overalls. Hello, my name's Oliver and welcome to my workshop. It's freezing this morning, but we shall endeavour because I've got exciting stuff to do. So, if you're new here, you won't know what's happening. I blew a spark plug out of the head of my engine, and instead of just kind of swapping the head, we decided to rebuild the heads, and we fit new piston rings and stuff to give her power back. This little engine only made 18 horsepower from the factory, and hopefully it now makes 18 horsepower once again. Now, sneakily, in between videos, I have actually swapped out the heads. What I discovered was the other heads that I have on my engine underneath the table over there were actually the later heads. They are actually a better head, and they've got a bunch of teeny tiny little improvements. They're made of slightly different aluminium. They have lighter valves in with lighter valve springs because they have 2CV style valve retainers, and also they have valve stem seals, which is kind of crucial. There's a thing that happens with early 2CVs where if you run them for a long distance and then you park them up and let them go cold, when you restart them you get a poof of white smoke. And that's because you get oil coming down the valve stem seals, or rather down the valve stems and then into your combustion chamber. So you get an oily combustion chamber. Then when you start your engine up, you get a white poof. That's bad for the environment, but also it creates carbon buildup. So with the later heads, hopefully we won't have any more carbon buildup. And the retainers, the little collets on the valves, they are 2CV6 style ones. They're the later ones that have the ribs in. That allows for softer valve springs. Now, softer valve springs is really good news because I know everybody, when they modify engines, they'll rush out and put the hardest valve springs they possibly can in. And that's a really bad thing to do because your engine actually compresses the valve springs to open the valves using engine power. Now, I only have 18 horsepower here, and the more power I'm using to compress a valve spring, the less power is actually pushing me down the road. So the later springs that are softer should theoretically give me an engine that's better in the low range, so kind of off the line, away from junctions and stuff like that, which is where this car really suffered before, if I'm honest. That's where the lack of power was apparent. Hopefully that's going to be a lot better because these springs are a lot softer. Now, I've also done more in between videos. I've also repainted all of the firewall. I wire brushed it off and I sanded it and I've repainted it. Not all of it, only where the acid damage was, because I wanted to keep these bits where the old paint's showing through and stuff. I like a being one. I only wanted to repair damage and kind of keep the... I don't want to use the word patina because nothing is more cliche and overused than the term patina, but I wanted to keep the patina. And I didn't want to just replace everything. I'm not that kind of person. You know, we repair things here, we don't replace them. So you only need to repair damage. And so everything that was damaged has been repaired, including repainting things like this, which is for the handbrake, and repainting the top of the voltage regulator because that was rusty. Because that was also from the engine that's over there under the table. Now, a quick thing that I want to just address. A lot of people have said, Oliver, how much power is your engine going to make? I don't know, probably about 18 brake horsepower, hopefully. And they also said, why don't you put a BMW GS 1200 engine in? Why don't you put a 2CV6 engine in? Why don't you put an M4 engine in? Why don't you put a Panhard engine in? Why don't you put a big cylinder kit on it? Right, I don't want more power. Okay, this little bean is a fantastic engine. It really is fantastic. The point of 2CVs is not to be fast. It is to be engaging and fun and wonderful. And this engine is the best 2CV6. It is the best 2CV engine, should I say? It is the best 2CV engine. I have the best one, and it doesn't need to be faster. It doesn't need to be more powerful. It's as good as it can be, and I love it. And I'm not going to replace it. I don't need a fast car. I have a fast car that I'm already not building without putting an engine swap in this. I love this engine as it was. It really is superb and characterful in a way that I struggle to describe. I adore this car and I adore this engine, and they just fit so well together. So I won't be replacing it. It's cracking, right? And it's going to stay as it is, because I love the 425. So what we're going to do today is we're going to stick this 425 in that engine bay, and by the end of this video it will run, and this engine will run because we've made sure of it. It's a good one. So this is a 2CV heat exchanger. I don't know if I explained this last time, and it's what gives this car its fantastic heater. A 2CV6 engine, the exhaust comes over the top like that, and it has the heater on it, and it works okay, especially if you're going at speed. This works amazingly. Unfortunately, if your 2CV engine happens to leak, it also stinks. So that's why it's so important to keep these clean, and that's why I've degreased it all and repainted it. Now, the way it works is the air comes in the front, travels over your cylinders, and goes into here. Now, if I want no heater, heater goes off, and the heat just escapes and goes out into my engine bay. And if I want my heater on, I shut it, and the heat comes through here and up there and into my cabin, making me toasty. So these just fit on here, thusly. And there's a sneaky screw that everyone forgets in the back. Here. Guess what I forgot? I've put the manifold on, and my tinware needs to go over the top. Regular viewers will know that I don't like painting engine bays and chassis and stuff black, because that's how you hide things, and I don't like hiding things, because if I've got a problem, I want to be able to see it. Unfortunately, black spray paint, black kind of heat resistant paint, is €3 a tin, a can. And white heat resistant paint, which is what I wanted to spray my manifold and exhaust, is like €13 or something like that, or €15 a tin. It's ridiculous. So black it is. We've also put new spindle seals in the carburetor. It turns out that the spindle seals for a 602 Solex single body carb are the same size as the spindle seals for an 18 horse 22 Solex. So we put new spindle seals in it as well. Take two. This goes on here. See, this is why I don't like doing stuff in matte black, because I can't tell what I'm doing. I can't actually see.
How much more black could this be? And the answer is none. None
Is that good?
more black.
Oh, here's a cool trick. Look in the heat exchanger. Can you see the dynamite in the heat exchanger? I put dynamite sound deadening on a couple of years ago on the back of the heat exchangers, and it makes a massive difference. So it's just occurred to me that the Marshall fuel pump, which is here, the gasket on the bottom was leaking before. We had an oil leak coming from here, trickling down the engine, and it covered all the side of the engine in oil. And I didn't know it was there. This is one of the problems with oil leaks and with kind of air-cooled engines and having a big fan on the front of your car, is that it can blow an oil leak in a place that you can't see it. And that's exactly what had happened. So we'll take it off and have a look. And it looks like a stud on one side and a bolt on the other, which is weird. Ew, look at that. So this is the fuel pump drive, and that was once grease, I think. Right, so it's, there you go. You can see where the oil leak was. I need to find some of these brushes on Amazon and put them down in the link in the description, because I use them constantly. They are one of my most used tools. They come in little packs of 3, and there's like a little wire brush one, there's like a steel wire brush one, a brass wire brush one, and a little plasticky one. And I use them for polishing, I use them for cleaning, just everything. They're one of my most used tools in my workshop. I wouldn't say my favourite tool, but they're, you know, for a disposable thing. And I'll leave all links to kind of reasonably priced tools that I use and I stand by and I use a lot down in the description. So things like polish, spark plugs, little wire brushes, safety glasses, all that kind of thing. Because a lot of people say to me, like, incredibly, you give me the confidence to start working on my car. Now I've watched your videos, now I feel like I can do the job too, you know? Which is mega. Like, that makes me so proud. But a lot of people say, but I don't have the tools, or what tool do you suggest for this? What tool do you suggest for that? So like I say, I leave all my links, if you don't know, in the description. There's actual Amazon links. And Amazon do a thing where if you use those links to buy stuff, then that actually supports me and this channel. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's the exact same price as it would be if you found it through Amazon yourself. But yeah, just like they give me a cut for sending you, if you will. It's like a referral thing. Like I say, it doesn't cost you anything, but hopefully it can help you find tools to do the jobs that you need to do. For the gasket, it's much like the gasket for the carburetor. It's made of phenolic. There you go. I love phenolic. When it's not all dirty and you know, 60 years old, it's one of the most beautiful resin-based materials, in my humble opinion. So much so that I've designed parts for Pandora made out of phenolic, just because I love the material. Right, so I'm going to give both sides a little skim of grease. The temptation with something like this is to use Honda Bond or some kind of instant gasket type silicone sealer thing to seal it and glue it down, or you know, make a paper gasket. I'm worried that if I make a paper gasket, the thickness of 2 gaskets on the phenolic spacer will stop it interfering properly with the little follower there. And if I use Honda Bond or something like that, I don't know, it would have never had it from the factory. So I want to try, I might end up redoing this, but I want to try just cleaning it, greasing it and putting it back together. And if it leaks, I'll keep an eye on it. Now it's all cleaned up, I'll be able to see it. And if it leaks, I'll reconsider. Up next we have the front. There we go. Ha ha! On. Yep, it just clicks. Super! Best thing about these is you only need 2 spanners for the whole job, he says, with a table full of stuff. Next up is engine mount. And yes, I'm super aware, people that are going to tell me in the comments, that all of this being black is going to make it absolutely impossible to see exhaust leaks. I know. But apparently the price of my dignity is about 12 euros. Because I was not about to pay. You noticed I got all Yorkshire when I said that. I was not about to pay another 12 euros just so I could have a couple of white pipes. So, if you don't know, on a 425, the exhaust is bolted on to the gearbox. There. Is that bolt? That bolt. That impossible to get to, absolutely hateful, evil bolt that hides behind the drum brake. So, what I'm going to do, before I put any exhaust paste or anything on it, I'm going to try and line it all up and just check it's happy. Apparently, you shouldn't need, I say this every time, I've done, what, 2 videos with 2 CV exhausts? Apparently, you shouldn't need any exhaust paste at all. Apparently. But this is made by one company, that's made by another company, one company, another company, and this one was made by Citroen about 60 years ago. So, it's, yeah, I'm using exhaust paste. But I had to paint it because it got a lot of battery acid spilt over it and it was all rusty. And I'm not going to just paint this and then leave this one silver. I can't do that. And I hate this exhaust paste. It is not very good stuff. And yes, it is white, not blue. And it is roughly the consistency of porridge. Oh, it's going everywhere. Oh, it's gone everywhere.
Ryan, we need paper towels. Oh, it's going under the fridge.
That's horrible. This is like trying to escort a freshly walked dog over a white carpet, but in reverse. And this is why I put too much on, so that I knew I could wiggle it about a bit. Now to remove the copious amounts of exhaust yogurt. Why did I buy white paint? If it were white, you'd never see it. I'm going to try and tighten the evil nut from behind the end. Nope, no, I mean. So, right. That's not happening. So, what I'm going to try and do, because of course now there's an exhaust in the way. So the way I did it in the end, I put the engine on blocks, that wasn't enough, so I got the camera to stand on the other side of the engine, and I lifted it up, shoved the big ring spanner under, and did it up. Good morning, Dad.
Good morning.
Dad's going to help me lift the engine in this morning.
Right, you ready?
Not really, but there we go. Ready? Right, handbrake cables in. We are. You got it? Nice one.
And we're in.
Yay! What we sat on? Well, ow!
Yeah.
Sorted. Typical, isn't it? You spend all that time, well, I spend all that time polishing, and then cover it in black metal. Black metal! Boop. Right, bouts. If you remember back to when we did the Diane video, people asked how to adjust the clutch on a 2CV or a Diane, and I said mine's different. This is why mine's different. Right, my lawnmower fuel filter has served me well, but it's time for a change. So I've got one of these fancy 2CV fuel filters, which is identical, or near as, damn it, identical. Now, if you shine a light through there, I know it's hard to see, but you'll notice that this is a different colour to this. The camera probably picks it up better than the human eye does, but it's all black along the bottom. So, time for a change. I'm thinking to myself, what goes in that hole? It's the headlight adjuster rod. Right. So that goes there. That's it. How cool was that? Right then, so we've just had the spark plugs out. I've spun the engine over with the spark plugs out by hand to build up oil pressure, And I've primed the fuel pump, again by hand. That's what the little lever's for. That's one of the good things about a 425. And now I think we're ready to start it. So plugs are in, and let's see if she fires. She'll fire. It's Jolene. Ready, little one? Come on, go girl. Give it a minute. Right, my dad had to jet off, and I've been going through the entire wiring loom for some considerable amount of time. And I think I've sussed it, I'm not sure. I traced it to a bad connection, and let's see. The ignition wasn't getting any power, basically. Woohoo! Let it warm up a minute. And move those coil wires away from move the coil wires away from the exhaust because they haven't been cable tied yet. She's running, she's running. Oh, is that a misfire? I think she'll be alright once she warms up. Yay! That's it, a little bit of chill, she's cold. But she's running, she's not exploding, there's no clunks, there's no nothing. Fuel pump's pumping away. Ah! Right, so I'm going to end this video here because I have to put all this car back together, edit this video and go and upload it in that car. So thank you all for watching, thank you all for your support and all for your lovely comments. It's been wonderful. I get really sad and depressed when my car's not working. I know it's funny, but it's true. And a lot of your comments have been really nice and like made me want to work harder and stuff like that. So thank you all for inspiring me. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is to tell your friends, click subscribe, because only like 64% of you are subscribed or something like that. And don't forget to click the bell icon if you want like the notifications of when I upload videos. Then make sure that you click that bell icon. That's a huge thing. YouTube now want you to do it, so it will help. So thank you all for watching. Please be awesome to each other, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.